Welcome back to Minecraft Wealth Building, where block by block I'm building a world while discussing how to grow wealth and build strong systems around investing, spending, saving, and more. The goal is to every week discuss personal finance topics so we can grow our finances together while I play and grow a Minecraft world to illustrate the power of consistent compounding over time. I took last week off to rest and recover from a trip, so I'm back today with a fresh episode. Success of the week, concept of the week, and a core curriculum recap about the first time I ever bought a lottery ticket just a couple weeks ago and felt, very exhilarated as I won over $5. This week I drove over 800 miles from North Carolina to Massachusetts. I had 2 passengers, but I drove all the way. It wasn't one big push all at once. It was multiple days and 7 to 8 hours each day. There was traffic all up and down I-95. I think that highway is my worst enemy and my op here on earth. It's a terrible highway and I hate it very, very much. There was traffic, construction, whatever. One thing I realized about halfway through Virginia as we sat in traffic and thunderstorms for half an hour was that I couldn't get frustrated at every little thing. I just had to take each mile one at a time. Although we stopped for over 45 minutes to get lunch, as driving with your grandparents just takes a little bit extra time, it really demonstrated to me the power of just taking each step in a journey one at a time. Similar to wealth building, you can't get bogged down in what's going to happen 10 years from now or 1 year from now or even next week. You just have to get started and take things one day at a time, slowly making positive decisions that are going to add up hugely over time. Go ahead and leave a comment as to what your success of the week was. Maybe it was the first step out of 1,000 on a goal that you're hoping to achieve over time. Or maybe it was that 1,000th step that is slowly showing your commitment to a goal and you're grinding through your progress slowly but surely. Go ahead and share it and let me know what you're up to. For the concept of the week, I'd like to talk about the story of the tortoise and the hare, except replace the hare with a bunch of diamonds because I got some diamonds for the first time today in the Minecraft wealth building world, which is super exciting because I finally get to stop digging around with a copper pickaxe and getting annoyed when it breaks every 3 minutes, but more on that later. Slow and steady wins the race, just like racing up I-95. It's the oldest lesson in the book and it never stops being true. Although I got my first diamonds in the world this week, it wasn't a lucky strike. My pickaxe broke while I was digging up out of the cave, and I had to mine 60 plus blocks of stone by hand just to get back to the surface. It was a massive pain in the butt. But that's what the reward actually looks like. That slow progress was the result of me getting the diamonds I needed to progress in the world. Although I could have planned ahead better, I did get what I wanted, and I didn't even have to die to a creeper or one of those creepy warden guys that sent goosebumps down my leg and scared the crap out of me when I was playing at 11 p.m. at night. But sometimes I ask, why bother taking the slow and steady route when you can just try to get rich fast? Why not just play the lottery? Well, I decided to. I was in a tiny little town called Belleville, which is next to Leland, which you probably also haven't heard of, which is next to Wilmington, North Carolina, which you might have heard of. Shout out the movies that have been filmed there recently. I was in a Circle K. There's about 2,500 people there, and I feel like a third of them were at the gas station. And that's where I got my first lottery ticket recently. I literally had adrenaline coursing through my veins as I decided to get the $50 frenzy. It's only $1, but it felt like I had the opportunity to win big. I was tracking my heart rate, of course, on my watch, and it climbed from 75 to 130 as I scratched my very first ticket. My buddy Christian and I were both on our very first scratcher, and we went to the bench in the back of the Circle K, I'm sure, looking like a bunch of degenerates, and let out a yell of excitement as we found out we'd won $5 on our very first ticket. We were already net positive right out of the gate. Now, we lost on the other 3 that we'd purchased, but we recouped our costs. And of course, we rationalized buying another $5 worth with our winnings. We were, of course, reinvesting the money we'd already put in. That's not a loss, that's just an opportunity to win another $5. Sounds like a positive outcome to me. We decided to switch things up a little bit. We bought $2 Lucky 7s and 2 $1 scratchers. Christian and I started discussing what we would buy with our winnings. Maybe a house, a boat, a new fishing rod, maybe even a functioning car in my case, because the door, yes, you heard that right, my door falls off in the heat. So that's unfortunate, which really got me thinking about all the nice used Subarus I could buy. I knew rationally that winning the lottery is extremely unlikely, but the chance that it could be me lingers in the back of my mind. You know, somebody does have to win. Why couldn't it be me? Christian and I decided to stop buying another round of scratchers for a minute to go get 60-ounce Polar Pops, which we quickly guzzled on the bench while we both debated emptying our savings accounts to buy even more lottery tickets. Maybe we would get one of the $50 ones that promised to pay out over $100,000. I wasn't super seriously entertaining this, but, the thought crossed my mind. It's not impossible to win after all. And if I did win, I could put all of my money in something conservative and be financially secure tomorrow rather than having to wait a few years. What an alluring aspect that was for me. I could put all my money in a savings account and be able to retire. That'd be pretty cool. After my drive back home and realizing that I had just lost $5, I Googled the odds for the North Carolina State Educational Lottery and realized how stupid I was. Literally nobody wins the lottery, and if they do, it's a very small dollar figure on each ticket. The average adult in North Carolina spent $420 on scratch-off tickets in 2025. Let's say you took that $420 and invested at age 25 in a low-cost index fund like SPYM inside of a Roth IRA for its tax-deferred and tax-free withdrawals later in retirement. If you invested that money into the S&P 500 growing at 10% annually, which is the historical average return over the past century or so, that $420, just a measly $420, turns into nearly $20,000 by retirement without adding any further contributions. Now let's say instead of burning the $420 every year that the average adult buys scratch-off tickets, you decide to invest it. So taking the one-time investment and doing it every single year for your entire working life. The total value at age 65 would be over $200,000 from just $17,000 in contributions over time. And that's tax-free in a Roth, which means the government, Uncle Sam, can't get his grubby little hands all over your retirement savings. That $200,000 is yours to keep, and maybe you'll go buy some scratch-off tickets as a fond memory. Let's do some more math though. Instead of contributing the $17,000 to my Roth IRA over the 40 years or so, let's say I bought 8,610 Lucky Sevens tickets. After all, eventually you'll have to win something big, right? If you keep on buying a scratcher ticket. The odds on the North Carolina Educational Lottery website are 1 in 4.68. That means on average I'm going to earn about $1.33 per ticket once you factor in the payout ratio of just over 66%. That's a bunch of gobbledygook to say that the house, that is the state educational lottery, has a 34% edge, which means you're fighting a losing battle. The total expected winnings by retirement are about $11,400 based on all of those statistics. That would mean I would lose $5,800 over 40 years. I didn't even get my money back, let alone grow it. Now let's say I do get lucky and I do hit the $20,000 grand prize. The odds of that are only 0.5%, even after buying 8,000 tickets. I'd still owe federal withholding tax and a North Carolina tax on the winnings, depending on my income. The $200,000 tax-free in the Roth IRA looks even better when you factor in all of the taxes that the government's going to take from me, even if I won the grand prize in the lottery. Sadly, millions of Americans and tens of thousands of North Carolinians in my own state are going to keep playing the lottery. They're going to bet on sports, they're going to use prediction markets, and they're going to keep picking their lucky number at the gas station printer. If you want to actually build long-term wealth, you need to invest in companies with products and services that provide real value to their clients. As an owner of the company, you get profits that accumulate over time and compound your investment. If you gamble, that's just a jackpot fantasy. Who knows if you're going to win? If you invest in companies that provide real value, you will generate profits that are going to grow and start working hard on their own so that you don't have to work forever. You're probably laughing to yourself, though. Nobody really buys scratch-off tickets, right? Well, of course not. It is a relatively low percentage of the population. But a lot of people are betting on sports. It's an epidemic these days, or honestly, at this point, a pandemic. Unfortunately, we all know way too much about that. The other thing we seem to feel like we know a lot about is who's going to win different sporting events. Over $500 billion is expected to be gambled on the World Cup, according to a recent Forbes article. That's $500 billion. Yeah, you heard that right. 500 billion with a B on one tournament. Sure, it's the largest in the world, but that's a lot of money. And it feels different than a lottery ticket. You're using your knowledge because you're following the game and you have a feel for it. Now, I'll be honest. I don't think I've ever watched even half of a, football, soccer game. I don't know. Whatever the sports game is, just apply that to your corner of the world. Either way, I haven't watched it, and I probably won't. To be honest, I only watch the Super Bowl for the ads anyway. But I digress. I'm not going to really be watching the World Cup, and I would have if the United States had gone past Belgium. But either way, even if you feel like you know the game, there's just too many things to go wrong. Perhaps, Messi. I'm trying to think of my names that I actually know, but Messi starts slipping up, or he sprains his ankle or something. I don't know anything about the World Cup, but something could happen. There could be some outside third-party thing that you have no expectation of. Maybe one of the top players for a team that you're betting on has some domestic issues. Maybe his wife's mad at him or his kid yells at him before he plays. Who knows? The point is you can't know everything. You just can't. And if you're betting on something out of your control like that, you're going to fail more often than you succeed. There's just too many variables that can go wrong. Plus, the house edge is still there. The big sports books or prediction markets like Polymarket or Kalshi have mathematicians and high-paid experts working to make sure that they win most of the time. The apps are engineered the same way scratch-off tickets are. They're bright, they're shiny, they look good, they have that sizzle. And scratch-off tickets are meant to make you think you're winning every once in a while. They want you to feel like that $5 win is equivalent to winning the $50 jackpot. If they can keep you thinking that you have a chance, you're going to keep buying, because hope is what they're selling. They're not selling the opportunity to get rich. They're selling a desire to get all of the things that you want and all the things that you dream about. It's the same with sports betting. Apps and sports books are hoping that people, especially young men who they target in their advertisements all the time, will see their ads and think, hey, I'm pretty smart, I can figure that out. And then go and invest, and I say invest very lightly, their savings into whatever player or team they think has the best chance of winning. But as we already know, there's too many variables and the chance of losing is so high. Just remember this, the house always wins. Apps are the worst as well because they're in your pocket 24/7. At least with a scratcher's ticket, you can only buy it once and you actually have to go to the gas station to get it. Tell me in the comments what you think. Do you think apps like DraftKings or FanDuel, prop bets, or the culture around it is a good thing for society? And are you spending your hard-earned dollars betting on your favorite sports teams? If you really want to build wealth, remember, own assets, specifically companies that are going to generate profits over time that are going to be reinvested for your benefit. In fact, let's look at one of the biggest sponsors for the World Cup, Coca-Cola. The company is worth over $350 billion, and it has annual revenue of over $49 billion. Yes, that's billion with a B. On top of that, they have net annual income of $13 billion. That's the actual profit that the company generated for its owners in the past 12 months. That means as a Coca-Cola shareholder, when those ads get shown at the World Cup, I get a piece of the pie when somebody decides to go buy a Diet Coke or a Coke Classic or any other Coke product. It's a pretty great arrangement. I don't even have to go sell the Coca-Cola myself. I gotta be honest though, my buddy Christian and I decided to make buying $10 in scratchers an annual tradition. And I think we're gonna start tomorrow, so I'm gonna go ahead and go. But once a year is just once a year. We are not making a daily habit of it, at least not yet. And if you make a bad habit out of every paycheck, it's going to hurt you significantly in the long run. Instead, decide to automate a good habit, like automatically investing $25 a week, which if you do from a young age like mine, maybe at the beginning of your working career, is going to be worth over $1 million by the time you retire. You think 60 or so years old. That seems very far in the future, but I think $1 million is probably worth it, especially when you compare it to losing your money over time for something that's not even going to benefit you. Don't buy hope. Buy the certainty of investing in solid companies and solid investments like the U.S. stock market that are going to grow wealth over time. You can read the full breakdown on Substack, which is the first link in the description. If you enjoyed this episode, check out the other Minecraft wealth building episodes. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Do all that random stuff, whatever. And don't forget to share your success of the week down there. Remember, you don't have to have everything figured out. You don't have to be on step 1,000. You can just consistently make positive decisions that are going to benefit you over time. Slow and steady wins the race, and slow and steady gets the diamonds. Hopefully not having them fall into lava again. That was really frustrating. Next, click the first link in the description to join over 1,000 other readers of the AWM Financial newsletter, where I delve deeper on investing, credit cards, stock markets, budgeting, and everything else related to personal finance. If there's any crazy couponers out there, I got a small place for you. Not the whole newsletter, but at least one every couple of weeks. And finally, remember, you don't have to have everything figured out today. Just one small positive action can impact yourself and the people around you far in the future. See you next week.